The job market right now is jacked up. People are getting laid off left and right. Companies are freezing hires. And even if you are employed, it feels like you're walking on eggshells. And to make it worse, you're scrolling through job boards and half the postings are fake, or it's the same role being reposted again and again, but nobody's actually hiring. It's frustrating and it's exhausting. Now, some people think the answer is just to work harder or stay late, grind it out and try to prove their worth. And other people do the opposite. They just bury their head in the sand and they stay quiet and they try to pretend like they're not really there or hope nobody notices them. But neither of these strategies work. Which one are you more tempted to do? Are you the overworker or are you the hide and hope person? When I was a senior manager, it was in the middle of COVID and it was crazy. It was terrifying. Me and my husband both had jobs, so we were very blessed in that, but we didn't know if we were going to be safe. Layoffs were happening everywhere. The market was shaky. And at the same time, we were homeschooling our kids. We were stuck in the house and we were trying to keep it all together. And it felt like everything was upside down. And in the middle of all of that, I knew one thing, that keeping my head down and hoping somebody would notice me at work wasn't going to cut it. Now, I know women who did that. They stayed quiet, hoping to ride it out. But a year later, they were still in the same role, overlooked for opportunities, and that could have been me. One of the turning points for me, though, was when I got selected to be a part of a company-wide business challenge. Now, my team and I worked hard, and we actually won. The challenge took place over 3 days. We had to travel into town, and we all stayed in one hotel. We were in teams of like 7 or 8 people. I knew one person on my team. We had to answer a business question using our products and services for a real world challenge. And then we had to present it in front of C-suite executives. At the leadership conference, I had a choice. Now, by nature, I'm more introverted. My default would have been just to sit in the corner and just try to blend in. But I knew inherently that this was my shot to show up differently. So I forced myself to connect. I walked up to leaders I didn't know. I introduced myself. I asked questions. I made real conversation. And when they said, hey, let's catch up later, I didn't let it slide. I followed up later. And that follow-up, that consistency is what opened the door to my next big opportunity, which for me was stepping into a director role. What do you think would have happened if I hadn't followed up? Now let me ask you, how many opportunities have you let slip by because you didn't follow up? Let's talk about what consistency really is. I want to pause here because a lot of people get consistency twisted. Consistency isn't perfection. It's not about grinding yourself down. It's not about doing everything, everywhere, all at once perfectly. Consistency is about repeatable actions that align with your strengths. Think about compound interest. You don't notice much after one deposit or even a week of deposits, but give it 6 months, a year, it's game changing, and your career is the same way. What's one small thing that you could repeat every week for 6 weeks? Just one. Imagine where you would be if you started today. Now, here's the deal. In a market like this, networking isn't optional. It is your visibility insurance. It is what you have to do. You must do it if you want to stand apart. But most people treat networking like a one-off. They'll go to one happy hour or one networking event. They leave one comment on LinkedIn. They send one message and they say, well, that didn't work. That's not realistic. I coached a client who had been posting on LinkedIn just once every few months, and she thought that she was visible. Once she started showing up consistently, weekly posts, adding comments on other posts, having coffee chats, then her inbox started to fill up with opportunities. Now that is the power of consistency, because networking that gets results is consistent networking. It's showing up again and again, and it's what I like to call making relationship deposits. Now, I want to talk about networking through the 4 domains of CliftonStrengths. If you function through the executing domain, then you need to be the one who always delivers. You need to volunteer for high visibility projects, not projects that nobody sees, high visibility. And you need to keep your word because your reliability becomes your reputation. Influencing domain. If that's what you function through, then you need to post weekly on LinkedIn. You need to speak up at least one time in every meeting. Have something valid to say, though. Don't just talk for the sake of talking. Volunteer to present because it's a visibility multiplier. If you function through the relationship building domain, then schedule one coffee chat a week. Celebrate other people's wins. Celebrate publicly when people do well, because people remember encouragers. Stay in touch with mentors, but not just when you need something. Just keep making those relationship deposits. If you function through strategic thinking, you might send a weekly insight or article. You might share a short reflection with your team after the project, or you might bring one fresh idea to every meeting. Which domain do you lead with? And what's the easiest networking action that you could repeat for 6 weeks? So yes, the job market is jacked up. Yes, layoffs are real. And yes, job boards are a mess with fake postings and recycled ones. But here's what I do know. You don't have to sit in fear. You don't have to overwork yourself or stay hidden. You stand out by being consistent, by showing up in a way that matches your strengths. That's how you move from invisible to visible, from overlooked to remembered, from stuck to making your next big career move. Now, if this hits home, I want you to subscribe for weekly strengths-based tools to help you get unstuck and move forward. I want you to remember this. Clarity doesn't come from waiting. It comes from consistent action in your strengths. So now you know, and now you go.